Got my water source heat pump water heater sitting over there. I hope it works. It was on this cart. I had this blue tarp over here on top of it and some reefer tanks to hold the tarp on in case it rained like last night or Saturday night. And then Sunday afternoon I realized I still had it out here in the way of me getting the truck out this Monday morning. So I pushed it quickly yesterday. When I got over here, I got over this, and then the wheel, one was already cracked. It caught that, and I couldn't stop it. It tipped over. Bam! It dropped my heat pump right on the ground right there next to that cherry picker. So I think it leaned against this engine stand here. That might have cushioned its blow on the way down. So that sucks. So hopefully it still works. I just have the blower on, and I have the water running with 30 gallons of water. 30 is good. We'll work ourselves up to 50 later. I had to go get some longer poly tube, and now I've got to get my tablet out. I'm not going to do the picture-in-picture. I'm just going to get the big tablet out. I'm always looking over there at the phone anyway, so. Okay, blower's on. Air temperature about 72, 73. Coming out the supply, which is just pulling right from the outside air at this point. Looks like 71 degree water in that tank. 122 PSI. Kick that sucker on. Alright, the compressor started. That's a good sign. Gotta go grab my amp meter. 7 amps. Blower and compressor. Blower pulls like 1.5 of that. We have 71, still 71, 72 degree water coming into this unit. I have some glare out here. The sun just popped out of the clouds. 81. So 9 degree temperature rise. 56 degree supply air and dropping. Refrigeration 173 discharge. 66 suction. Looking good. Let's see what the superheat is. I'm going to lose my temperature of the water coming in for a second. I just want to see what the suction line is. If I can find a flat spot to pinch this on. I guess I have that, I have that other meter if we go get. Come on. Focus. Superheat 28 and dropping. And who knows, it might. I was talking about pulling out some refrigerant, until the superheat started climbing, and then added a little tad back in just to kind of get this thing charged just enough to flood the evaporator, but maybe it's already at that point. Superheat's still dropping 25 degrees. Now remember, the superheat, I wouldn't expect it to be 5 degrees or anything like that, because this is a 3-ton unit. On this 3-ton unit, I removed the 3-ton compressor and put the compressor from the 2-ton in here. 22,000 BTU compressor in the 3-ton unit here. So, yeah, we're not going to exactly get, rid of those superheat unless I really slowed the blower down. But below on 51 degree air, so we're at 20 degrees split. So it's still achieving 20 degrees. CFM I have it. No ductwork, no static. Blower's on low. It's probably, it's doing pretty good. Superheat's getting down 21. My leaving water is 86. We don't know what the entering water is just because I pulled this off. But yeah, getting down about 21 degrees superheat. I'm going to put this probe back on to the water line. So the suction was at 62. So I'm going to go get my fluke so we can monitor the gas lines on the compressor. Time now is 6:12. It was 6:05-ish when I fired up the unit. If I save the trends from this, I'll know exactly when it started. So far it's been 7 minutes. My water has went up about 7 degrees, so it's definitely going slower today. 77 in, 91 degrees out. Head pressure is only 202 with 72 suction. Hot gas line is only 130 on the compressor. 51 suction, 51, so we're at 9 degrees superheat. Wow. That's right. if you were just checking this just for a normal water source heat pump, you're like, dude, those are some badass readings. So since it's 204.72 and we got like 8-degree heat rise, wow, that's it. 78, 80. No, we got 14-degree heat rise. 78 in, 92 out. Let's see what happens when I crank up. Just went up to 9.3 amps. Forgot to see what it was before I increased it there. 7.8. Now here's the thing. As you take a pump, a compressor is a pump, and you add speed to it, the proportional amount of increased capacity is not match your amps. Your amps will be more than, like, say if you added 10% capacity, it's not going to be 10% more power consumed. It's going to probably be like more than that. And likewise, if you could reduce your capacity, say you reduce your capacity to just 75% of the normal 100% at 60 hertz, it's not going to be 75% of the current. It'll be like way less. It'll be like 50%. So that's why it's really awesome if you can, given the same piping, same resistances, distances, everything like that on a pump closed loop system, dropping it down, it's not proportional. Some people call it the inverse square, but I don't think it actually matches that 100% either, but it definitely reduces a lot. So I was trying to see what the performance would be if I did want to kick it up. So 81.94, we're still doing about 13 degrees heat rise. Just gonna kick it up for a second. My amp shot up to 9.3, 9.4, minus 1.5. I think that's what my blower was. What the compressor's running. But I guess we should just calculate the whole thing, because that's what it's gonna be drawing anyway. 218 did not shoot my head pressure up that much. Now, for some reason, the way I have this set, perimeters, I have to go far around with them. I cannot go over 70 hertz. I ran these things up over 120. I think I ran them up to like 2 something. They go up to 240. No, what's the hertz? 400 hertz is what this is capable of, depending on how you program it. But I ran motors up to like 200. They sound really, really choice. Suction came down to 70. Good, a nice 49 degree. 42 degrees suction pipe. Wow, like really low super right now. So basically, this compressor probably just got turned into close to a 3-ton compressor again at this point. Maybe somewhere in between. This is called golden screwdriver. I'm not using engineering. I'm not using equations. It's just trial and error. And they call it, back in the CB radio adjustment days, used to call it golden screwdriver. Someone would get in there and kind of fine tune those things, get the antenna tuned, start farting around inside of CB, and sometimes without having all the scopes and the proper stuff, you'd actually get the radio to perform better than stock, and they would call it golden screwdriver, or at least return it back to stock if it was old. Same thing here, I'm just farting around. So 49 degrees supply air. I had about 72 degree outside air. It might have just dropped a little bit when that sun kind of dipped down, I don't know. But I'm getting 49 degree supply air. I'm getting, went back up, it's the TXV's throttling. It's about 45, so I've got like 3 to 4 degrees superheat right now. Hot gas line, 145. Not even sweating it. Look how that is. So my water is already up to 85 degrees. So I'm getting 85 to 90, 100, that's 15 degrees. So is it worth it? Is it worth going up to 70 hertz? Probably not. Went back to 60. See if that outlet temperature kind of takes a dip. Amps drop back down 8.2 over an amp. So I'm going from 70 hertz down to 60. Water, 30 gallons of water is up to 86, so it's climbed 15 degrees in 6:05 at 6:17. So is that only 12 minutes? No way. But it's increased. It's getting this warm leaving, and it's not cold anymore coming in. 86 degrees in here. Now, this is not insulated. They had the lid closed at least, but probably losing some heat. This thing's losing heat. 101 leaving, 87 in the tank, 50 degrees supply, 51. I think it actually did lose a little, maybe a pinch of performance. I wonder what it would be like if I could turn this compressor up to you know, 80 hertz just for faster heat rise. But again, like I said, if you don't have to do that, it's best not to. So 52 suction, so I'm running about 9 superheat, bouncing around about 51 supply. It does feel like it warmed back up just a pinch out here too. One thing that my friend mentioned, he goes, all right, well, this is the performance you're getting right now with it being, you know, 72, 73 degrees outside here in Arizona on March 23rd. You guys have probably still got cold. I can't imagine it being that warm. But anyway, he's like, well, what's it going to be like in the garage? Well, the garage average temperature is probably going to be like 100 on the hottest, you know, hottest part of the summer. So will it hurt performance? It might. It might also make it kick ass in the heating output. Time will tell. Now, once this is hooked up to a heater, it's going to be a lot harder to do tests because I'd have to, like, if I want to do a full recovery test, I'd have to, you know, run my water heater out, which I'd probably just turn it off and let the kids run the heater out, but to get it cold. Ooh, look at this, there's a bust right here for the cover. So it did suffer injury when it fell. I don't know if that. 5.8 amps going to the compressor, 233 volts. Down at 8 point, or now the up to 8.5. 9.3-ish is what it was running when I ran up to 70 hertz. So this thing's pulling 8.5 amps. Remember, the water heater normally pulls 20, maybe a little over like 21 or something because you have a 5,500 watt element in there. Water's up to 91, leaving at 105. So head pressure's starting to climb. We are definitely getting a slower climb than we were getting before. You know, when I was doing this with 4 or 5 gallons. But now my water is already 91. 91 coming in, 105, almost 106 leaving. So that's about 14 degree heat rise. This is clamped on there good. 247, 76. Awesome pressures right now. 51, 45, 5 degrees superheat. 152 on my hot gas line leaving the compressor. I have that pushed a little further back there now, so it's like 7-8 inches from where it comes out. Pretty low heat coming out of that. And the leaving water temperature isn't going to be too far from the liquid line temp, probably, so I don't know if that's subcooling anywhere near accurate, but you can see it says like 9. Actually, liquid line would be closer to the inlet, so there's even less subcooling than that. That would be, because where your hottest water comes out is where the hottest gas goes in, and then, right, it's counterflow. And then, yeah, it goes through hot gas, and then the cooler refrigerant, you know, is where the cooler water is coming in. Refrigerant coming out, yeah, it's counterflow, and water's coming in. So, inlet water temperature is like 93 right now, so it'd be not 110, the calculation would be 93. Oh, it'd be more subcooling. Yeah, so my subcooling is somewhere between these two, you know, wherever that falls into play. Because the liquid line won't be as cool as the water, so it'll be up there a little bit. So if it was like, if it was 100, that would be 19 degrees subcooling. So who knows how much it really is. I am not measuring the liquid line. Now we got 95 degree water, 111 leaving. And it's been 6:05 approximately. So if it's this will be 17 minutes so far, because it's 6:22 now. 6:22. Nice. So it's probably heating faster than the element is. So, well, this is 30 gallons, not 50. can't say that. So, but for a small water heater, it'd be 30. But a water heater is highly insulated. This is not. So I'm giving up heat. So definitely not a like-for-like test. But I do like how it's working. Got that water up to 95. Leaving at 112. So leaving, it definitely feels pretty good. Up to 8.9 amps. So I'm gonna let that run for a few minutes. Pause my recording and I'll. Okay, it just hit 6:30, so that means about 25 minutes. Tank temperature going on 106 there. 125 leaving. So it seems to be increasing with differential as that head pressure gets up there. I think the load, if I'm not, if I'm remembering right how it was earlier, I don't think we had no 20 degree, 19 degree rise. So now there is. Maybe it'll start heating faster. Did break the 300 psi mark. So pressures are going up. Just, supply air is bumping up just a tad like it did. But pressure did also, so it's 47 with 51, so it's like 4 degrees superheat. So 20 exactly, let's bump it up to 70 just for a second. Amps going to go up to 11. Where was the amps? It was like still 9 point something, yeah, 9.4. So the amperage is getting up there once that pressure hit 300 plus. Now we're not doing any favors for the current draw, but we're still half of what the heating element is. I don't know what that pump is pulling. We'll have to figure that out. I don't think it's all that much. So that's going to shoot up our pressure. It did pull down the suction just a pinch, didn't it? Just barely. Probably not even worth it. Still at 20 degree rise. Went up 11. I think we're up at least an amp right now, so that's probably not helping our cause any. 108, 128. I don't see it shooting up with that. Oh, the discharge shot is a 180. Not to see what it was a second ago. Maybe we captured that before it got all crazy. Now let's go down to 50. That's going to drop our current down to 8.2. 8.2. Discharge is going to go down. Let's see how that affects our heat rise. 20 degrees exactly right now. Let's see what happens to it. Suction. Hot gas dropped just a pinch from 180 down to 177. Let's see if that does. If that doesn't reduce the heat rise that much, then it'll be worth it to start backing off the compressor. Water's almost up to 110 in that trash can. Uninsulated trash can. I know I'm fighting it. So it went up to 109. That stayed at 128. So I think we dropped down to 19 on our rise, but we're keeping our head pressure from going way up. 78 there. It's flowing. So now I got a nice 110 degree, about to hit 110, and 128 going back. I just hit 110, it's about to hit 129, so we're still about 19 for the heat rise. What do you guys think of that? This thing's running at 50 hertz. So 180 again on that as that increases. Back up to 60 just briefly. Let's see if we recover into that rise. So you can see that we're down to 19. But do I really want to run that head pressure up that high? That's still not bad. We're just like a hot day for an old unit right here, for an old R22 unit. I know you guys in some of the Midwest and stuff, you'll see 320 PSI discharge go, what? Come on, man. HC or old ghetto units and stuff on a hot 120 degree day, what do you think they'd be at out here? Running 17 over ambient? Not unheard of. Probably more than that, might be more like 335 or something. So it's been so long since I've been seeing R22 on a regular basis, I kind of forget and not seeing the old units anymore. So we're still at only 111, 131, we're at 20, not even almost 112. So it still isn't, it didn't really bump that up to 20. So that's at 182, but we're still not, it ain't like speeding up the compressor just makes that thing really increase. We're barely, not even quite at 20. 112, 131 and a half. It's like 19 and a half degrees. 19 and a half, 328. We got 9.8. We're back up to 60. I was thinking I went up to 70. Yeah, back up to 60. So still under 10 amps when we're at 60 hertz. So it didn't quite get to 20. It's almost to 20. It's hit 70 one more time. Yeah. Now we're going to crank this amp. Yeah, see, that shot it from 10 to 11.3. That's costing us an amp, 1.3 amps. Let's see if this thing can even make a full 20 degree heat rise at that point. It's trying to. It just hit it. Almost. Yep, right there. Hot gas up to 185. Suction's still 51. 47, 40 degrees superheat. 113, 113. So we're like 21 and a half, or 20 and a half heat rise. We're almost getting on 21 degree heat rise. But at the sacrifice of amps and getting up there where I don't want to go. Now I'm going to drop it down to 50 hertz. That'll start lowering with the discharge pressure. About 8.5 amps. See what this does to heat rise. Discharge line. It's not continuously dropping, There it did a little bit. Bouncing around 184. So that's good. Down to 332 on the high side. Suction pressure is way up to 83. Oh, well, of course, because we're running 50 hertz. It's okay. It's got 19 and a half degrees of heat rise with 8.6 amps. 115 coming in. 134 leaving. That's nice and toasty right now. Yeah, it's a pretty hot line. You cannot hold your hand on that more than a couple seconds. By the way, someone tells me that spraying over 130 degree hot air up your nostrils, you take a couple deep breaths, would kill the beer virus. So we got 115, 134.7, almost 130. It's not, I mean, of course, as the water heats up, I think the heat rise kind of goes up along with it. So it's just getting harder. It just seems like it's slowing down. It is 6:38. It's almost 6:40. So we're 6:30. So we're just a little over 30 minutes of run time right now. I've been farting around with it just a little bit. 57 degrees, losing some performance. But we're running 50 hertz too, though. 8.7 amps almost. This thing's got to be wasting heat, man. I can feel it. It's warm right here. Just put my hand in here. Heat is escaping. So this is not an insulated tank. I think this would be already finished by now if I had an insulated tank to circulate this water. Man, it's nice. If might do me some good to foam in that whole heat exchanger. Also, although in the garage with the panel on, it's probably going to stay nice and warm, compressor and everything in there. The panel's insulated. If I foam it, I won't be able to service it in the future very easily. So we got 117 on the tank, temperature 136.4 with it returning to the tank, 345. Pretty high discharge, so let's bump this down for shits and giggles to 40 hertz. Let's drop that down to 7.4 amps. Oop, this thing's turned off on me. This one's trying to turn off on me also. automatic power off. We were up to 190 almost on that, which is fine. The discharge still at 51 suction. That TXV is like holding that thing right there. Crazy. Not cooling is good. So you'll see that this thing kicks ass with 20-degree split when it the water is in the 70s and into the 80s. But then once it gets up there, you're starting to get just a little over a 10-degree split. Still blowing cool air, 59 degrees, still blowing in the garage. So what did we lose how much performance we lose? 118, 136, 137 almost. We're still like at 19 on the heat rise, so it's still rising. So I'm slowing down, kind of keeping the, let's go down to 30. Let's drop that baby down to 6 amps. See if it continues to deliver hot water. Head pressure's, discharge pressure's dropping down. I like to keep it down 330 or so. Hot gas line 180. Suction still at 51. It's almost like this thing's on hold. It is on hold. Son of a... That whole time I've been reading the wrong temperature. Since the last time I turned this back on. I don't know when that was, but we were not getting an accurate temperature. 64. So it's a 10. Alright. Now, and so it was somewhere between since I powered that on. Because when it goes to sleep, I just like hit the buttons and it wakes it up. I knocked that thing in a hold mode. I knew there's no way it was just rock steady at 51. 64.8, 54.7, 10 degrees superheat. Supply shot way up to 62, but I've got this thing down to 30 hertz. How's that read through there? 92 suction. You can see how high that is for running the compressor. So slow, but we got discharge pressure, discharge temperature, 118, 136.6. So we're running an 18 degree heat rise. It's still heating the water up because the water's leaving at 136, 137. So it's getting pretty warm coming back. I mean, that's pretty hot. It's almost 120. I can hold that for like 5 seconds before it gets uncomfortable. 137 degrees. Well, it's about real torture after about 5 seconds. That's hot water right there. I'm losing my light. So 6:42. About 3 minutes. It's going to be 40 minutes to get this. So it's going to take about 40 minutes to get this 30 gallons of water in this trash can from 70 degrees up to 120 degrees. When I turn it off, I'll be curious just to let it loop here for a few seconds, see what it drops to. The hotter I get with it uninsulated, I think I'm just pissing in the wind. I can feel heat just coming. It's warm. It's all hot and steamy right here. So it's loose. Oh, look at that steam. So I'm just pissing against the wind at this point. That's not a good tank to heat that much water up that hot. It's just it's steaming hot though. How you guys like that, man? 120, 137, leaving, and now this one went to sleep. 6.1 amps. And you got 17 degree heat rise, almost 18 degrees. So performance is the slope is kind of weird with refrigeration, you know, versus just a dead, 5 kilowatts of electric heat element. As the water heats up, that element doesn't like just start performing better or anything. So it actually seems like backing the frequency off a little bit as the temperature goes up, it still delivers the heat. I don't think this will go down any slower, will it? 25 hertz, 6.2, but it sure did, down to 25 hertz. So I'm getting up there on the head pressure. Trying to keep it down about 330-ish just to see what happens. Suction's going up. Cooling performance is going down. 65. Less than 10 superheat. Back down to like 333, 334, 100, almost 96 suction. 121, 138. Still delivering 138 degree water at 5.8 amps. So this 130 something, I could I could always put a probe on there. Pressure transducer would be better, but those are pretty pricey to modulate this thing. It would ramp up as high as the limit was inside, so it wouldn't just keep shooting up to infinity or anything. It would ramp up until it hits the maximum frequency. So it wouldn't be up to 330 if that's what I programmed it for. But then once it got started going above 330, like it is now, it would keep backing itself down. 335. Let's go down and see if it goes down. I'm gonna try 22 hertz. See if it's 5.8. Yep, it is slowing down more. 5.7. Take a little dip again on that high side. Still, see if it. Listen how slow that thing's going. That thing's doing 22 hertz. Watch this. See what it's doing. 22 hertz, 8 amps. Going to now 8 amps. You're like, whoa, that's pulling 8 amps, but that's 8 amps at what? 110 volts going to each leg. So you can figure out the power from that. But the actual, on our line side, we're running 5.6 amps. So we're running just a little over about a quarter of the power that one heating element runs in your water heater. Still delivering about 140 degree water leaving this thing. So 122, 16 degree heat rise right there. It would continue to heat the water. It would just maybe slow down, but it's still heating it up. And the thing is, I'll be taking, when the water heater kicks on, like when it first kicks on, it'll be taking water out of the low end from the dip tube to the cold side, and some of the cold water will be coming in also, so that'll influence it. We'll have to see what that does. But then the hot leaving or returning will be right there, coming back into it'll be dumping right in the hot, so it'll actually be streaming right into mixing right in with the water leaving. Could actually be a benefit. So, but like I said a few minutes ago, pissing into the wind, trying to get it that hot. This thing's just steaming right now as it cools off outside. I know it would heat the water heater. It'd have to. I could get that water up to 140 return or supply, whatever you want to call it, at no problem. So 133. Let's see if it'll go there a little slower. Oops. Aha. Nope. Down to 20 hertz, 5.5 amps. I wonder how slow I can run this compressor before it tries to stall. I can feel it vibrating just a little bit. But at 18, I don't know if it's going to be going any slower. Oh, I smell cigarette out here. Who's doing that? I think we're at 10 hertz. But it's vibrating this unit a little bit. 10 hertz, 11 amps at 66 volts. You could change those. So let's kick it back up a little bit. That thing was down under 5 amps. Get it back up to 15 hertz. Bringing it back up to 37. Now, if you get the current probably too high, if it makes too much heat in that compressor, it could trip the overload on that thing. So slowing this down might not do it any justice. Back up to 20 hertz. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and call it. Stop. There we go. Down the blower only, 1.65. Okay, so 1.65 amps is the blower. Put an ECM in there, you're gonna be, with no duct work, I'd say I could probably get the blower to work about 0.7 amps. Half that easy, because that's being a no duct work on a motor, AC, motor like that. It's going to be, power factor is going to be way off because you don't have any static. So it's oversized, mismatch. I'd say an ECM thrown in there would probably run half an amp to 3/4 of an amp instead of 1.6. compressors are equalizing. So I'm gonna stop the video for a second, but it's 6:50. So 6:05, 6:50. So that's like 45 minutes, right? Yeah. So another 15 minutes would be an hour. It's getting dark. So I'm just gonna let this sit for a second and balance, and then kind of see what the water temperature does. It's 6:59, about 7 o'clock. See how this is just now equalizing with the outlet temperature? I noticed that this one stayed several degrees lower than the outlet temperature. I wiggled on my probe there, and all of a sudden it started increasing. So it means I did not have the bottom one on there very well. It's kind of hard to get it seated on there. See, it's going up and down right now. So we were not getting an accurate reading. I'm trying to get it to clamp on the line down in there. So is that a funny angle or something? But anyway, that dang, I'm trying to get it on there. I had a good reading a second ago. They were equalizing. So anyway, basically the water heater, the water in the tank was hotter than we thought. There it goes. Got it probed on there. See, it's starting to go up again. So I think it was still reading like 10 degrees less. It was reading like 122. And that one, even though I had to run a good 5 minutes or so without the compressor, it was just stalled there. See, now it's equalizing. So that probe is really hard to get on there. Last time I did a test, I had little short pieces of copper in the poly tube out here. That probably gives me a better place to clamp that on. So we didn't get an accurate reading. I think I heated the water to 130. I actually had to have, because it's still over 130 after 5 minutes. So I probably heated this thing up to closer. It was going 138 leaving, and it's still 131 in the tank after it's been off 5 minutes. So I heated this thing up well over 130 without even realizing it. I thought I was stopping at 120, a little over 120, 122, and it seemed like, remember, it looked like it was stalling, but that's because that probe wasn't on there right. So we didn't have as hot of a heat rise as we thought, but however, the tank was water was hotter than we realized. See, now it's almost totally equalized there. It's getting there. So the supply air 70, almost 72. It's still 71-ish or so out here, almost 72. Got a breeze. It feels cool, but that's what I'm dealing with. Yep. So crazy, huh? Well, I'm about out of light. It's dark, so got to put this up. And yeah, this is definitely still hot and steamy. Put the light on. Steam. This water, it's scalding hot. Scalding hot. You cannot keep your hand in there at all. So it's in the 130. Look at that. It's been off for over 5 minutes. And yeah, 131, 132. So I've got 132 degree water after it's been off for a while. So I did heat 30 gallons from 70 to over 130 in like 45 minutes. I think I had it more. I think I had a couple degrees hotter than that. So, and if you look at the average set point, a lot of people only set their water heaters for 120. So we'll see. So anyway, that's gonna be it for the night. You guys don't forget to like and subscribe. See more of this bastardization.